Joining me now is Royal Historian Dr. Tessa Dunlop. Dr. Dunlop, thank you very much indeed for being with us. It was a marriage that lasted 73 years, but a love affair that went back to the late 1930s, starting when the Queen was just 13 years old. How would you describe that relationship between the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh?
You know, in Britain today, there are over 500,000 people alive over 90, and I feel sure that almost without exception, they will be identifying with the Queen and with Philip as they have done for the majority of their lives. It was a quintessential wartime love story, super innocent, very different gender spheres. She meets him, you're right, age 13. It's the first meaningful meeting. He's this dashing naval cadet just before war, about to go and fight his first battles at sea, aged 18. They write very sweet, innocent letters, occasionally meet during the war, as was the case with so many wartime sweethearts. And then, in line with nearly 500,000 other couples, they crashed down the aisle in 1947. In that year, 47, never before had so many people married. And of course, they were led by this beautiful, brave couple. Both had served, but in, as I said, very different gender spheres. So he's brave, he's been at war, he's the naval hero, and she was back at home in her ATS uniform. She'd done a bit of work with cars, you know, and with trucks, we know, and the spanner. And so they very much represented traditional idea of husband and wife. And then they go forth and multiply. 4 children, the archetypal baby boomer couple. And really, I think the last generation that believed fully and uncompromisingly in the institution of marriage, no matter what difficulties lay ahead.
And that wedding, Dr. Dunlop, in November of 1947, the first major event of the post-war years, how did it lift the mood of the nation and brighten that post-war gloom?
Well, again, what the Queen's great gift has been, and Philip has facilitated this from the get-go, is to speak and represent the nation. She's never been flash, Elizabeth. She kind of capitalizes on her quintessential, almost girl next door ordinariness. And she made sure that the nation knew she used wartime clothing coupons for her Norman Hartnell dress, a designer nonetheless, but she had to, you know, gather round and be seen to be scrimping along with all those other couples. Like I say, over 400,000 of them getting married that year. Interestingly, the age for a first-time bride also crashed down to 22. Never before had we been getting married so young in this 20th century period. And the Queen, of course, an unimpeachable 21. So there was something, you know, very peaches and cream, very innocent about her. And Philip, I mean, a knockout, as my mother would say. He was absolutely ravishing. Let's not pretend otherwise.
And that marriage that has endured so much over the past 7 decades, the Duke of Edinburgh always at his wife's side. She now finds herself alone. I wonder what impact that will have on the Queen.
Again, I think it's very significant and uncannily timely of the Prince to die during this pandemic, once again speaking to the last of their generation. Like I say, over 500,000 people over 90 who've been so hit and had so many funerals in the last year. But also, like them, our royal couple have had to adapt to the modern world. They've had to get used to this rock-like institution of marriage actually being fallible. They've had to witness their own children getting divorced and come to terms with that. And Prince Philip, you know, there they are having 4 children, but during the interview for his 90th birthday, I think it was with Fiona Bruce, saying, with his conservation and preservation hat on, you know, we should think about how many children we have in the modern world. So this was a couple that, although traditional, was able to adapt with the rest of the country.
Dr. Tessa Dunlop, thank you very much indeed. This is Sky News.